Welcome back, America. We've got about 6 minutes before we have to turn the keys over to Grant Stentfield. So I want to bring in our next guest. Mike Davis is the founder and president of the Article 3 Project and was paying very close attention to the former President Donald Trump's trial, which is taking place in Colorado right now. Now, this regards the potential of having the 45th president removed from the state's 2024 presidential ballot on the argument that he instigated the January 6th insurrection, a whole heap of legal malady there. Anyway, Mike, we are so grateful to have you with us. What all have you learned from day one of all of these legal proceedings?
Well, we have learned that President Trump was impeached twice by the Democrats for nonsense. He was indicted four times for non-crimes. They even brought a civil fraud lawsuit in New York for the non-fraud of a businessman paying back sophisticated Wall Street banks in full, on time, as agreed with interest. And somehow that's fraud. But that is actually, that election interference, that Democrat lawfare is backfiring. So now Democrats are running their legal Hail Mary. They are afraid President Trump's going to beat Biden like a drum on November 5th, 2024. So they just want to take President Trump off the ballot altogether and take away that choice from the American people. And they are doing it with this post-Civil War constitutional amendment, Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which disqualifies Confederate sympathizers who fought an insurrection against the Union. And the Democrats are trying to say that January 6th was an insurrection, and they're trying to have their Democrats, election officials, secretaries of state, and partisan judges just take him off the ballot, and they're going to start here in Colorado, a deep blue state with a biased Democrat judge, and get a favorable ruling against Trump, and then use that in swing states like Michigan. And so the trial is this week in Denver.
Yeah, pretty extraordinary. There's one little problem here. Maybe I'm just a layman, but it would seem to me there's a legal problem, which is the president's never been charged with an insurrection, even though Jack Smith had that opportunity for him. And also, there's no real evidence that what he did that day had anything to do with insurrection. In fact, he made comments to the contrary, saying everyone be peaceful and go about and doing a peaceful protest. How big a hurdle will this be as it moves up the chain of courts and gets to the federal court system?
Well, for this Denver district judge, Sarah Wall, this is not going to be a hurdle at all. She actually donated to a political action committee that's going after Trump supporters who supported President Trump on January 6th. That was brought up in a motion to recuse today by President Trump's lawyers. She said, "Oh yeah, I made that donation. I forgot about it, but I could be fair." Well, that's not the legal standard. Her subjective statement that she could be fair is not the legal standard. Objectively, does the public think she could be fair? And obviously, they're not going to think she's fair if she's donating to a January 6th political action committee to go after Trump and his supporters. But setting that aside, in order to disqualify under the 14th Amendment, under Section 3, there is a controlling case on point by Chief Justice Samuel Chase from 1869. Congress has to pass a federal criminal statute for insurrection or rebellion, which Congress did in 1870. It's been on the books since 1870. It was last updated in 1948. Jack Smith, the January 6th committee, Jack Smith, these Democrats have spent tens of millions of dollars hunting for evidence of insurrection. They can't find it because it doesn't exist. How many insurrectionists get to the Senate floor of a nation's capital, walk through velvet ropes, follow police direction, and don't burn down the damn place? What happened on January 6th was a protest, a lawful protest permitted by the National Park Service that turned into a riot. It was not an insurrection. And in order to disqualify, Jack Smith would have to charge Trump with insurrection. You'd have to have evidence beyond a reasonable doubt. You'd have to have a unanimous jury, a judge convict and upheld on appeal. That is not happening here. This is lawless, what they're trying to do. This is unconstitutional. It's lawfare. It's election interference.
Yeah, and I agree with you. It certainly seems like a Hail Mary. But if these, 6 plaintiffs, if they are unsuccessful ultimately after appeal Supreme Court, does that ultimately kill in the crib this effort?
No, I actually think these plaintiffs are going to be successful in Colorado. I think this partisan Democrat judge, this Democrat donor who just became a judge appointed by this Democrat governor out here, Jared Polis, is going to rule against President Trump and disqualify President Trump from the ballot. That means it will be immediately appealed to the Colorado Supreme Court, which is stacked by Democrat operatives. So the U.S. Supreme Court is almost certainly going to have to step in and decide this case. But in the meantime, you're going to see election officials and Democrat judges in other swing states like Michigan take this Colorado precedent and try to disqualify President Trump in states all across the country. If they can't beat President Trump on November 5th, 2024, they're just going to disqualify him.
Boy, oh boy. Very, very, I want to say strange times, but it's way worse than that. Unbelievable. Mike, we are so grateful for your time tonight. Your wisdom, your legal wisdom is beyond the pale. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.